a great pleasure to have Sans Pareil here. It's a ultra premium cigar. It really is amazing. Some of you guys had the honor to try it in the past, and we brought all the line. And he's going to explain the different flavors, the different profiles, so you guys can purchase the things that are adequate for you. And Alex Gonzalez here is the representative from Sans Pareil. And we're just looking forward to see what he has to say. The cigar by itself talks a lot. It has so many great things. It's very complex. So I leave Alex on the floor. Welcome.
Thank you, Byron.
Please go right ahead.
Absolutely. Again, my name is Alex Gonzalez. I am the rep for Florida and brand ambassador for Sans Pareil Cigars. I know that a lot of you guys have tried the cigars already, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the brand, dive deep. If you have any questions at any point, feel free to raise your hand or interrupt me. I really don't mind. Ask away, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have. What we're smoking today is the Blue Bellicoso, and this is an event-only size. So we don't sell these in the lounges. This is something you can only get at events. So you are of a few selection of people that are able to try this cigar. The closest thing we have to this cigar would be the Pyramid, and we'll get more into that. But a little bit about the Blue, which we're smoking right now. This would be the lightest cigar in terms of strength, but all of these cigars that we have are high flavor. So there's a lot of flavor on every cigar, whether you're smoking the Blue, which is on the lighter end in terms of strength, whether you're smoking the Red, which is going to be more on the stronger side. All of these cigars are full flavor. And what's very special about Sans Pareil is that the tobacco from the wrapper, the binder, and the filler is all going to be aged for a minimum of 7 years. That's when the cigar is rolled. Once the cigar is rolled, they're then put in the aging room to rest and age for a little bit longer. It could be a year or 2 years. So what you're smoking, I know for a fact this bundle is 9 years of age on the binder, filler, wrapper. So Sans Pareil is very proud to provide that ultra luxury vintage cigar experience, which is why, as you guys may know, when you try that for the first time, you realize that there is something special about this cigar. We'll get a little bit more into the Blue. The Blue is a Criollo 98 wrapper, and the binder and filler is going to be Dominican Elite Selection. Essentially what that means is that Sans Pareil will choose the top 1% of the tobacco yield for all their cigars. A lot of brands, for the most part, they'll pick the top 10%. That's what they believe is adequate. Brands that go higher up, they'll choose top 5%. Sans Pareil really believes that the top 1% is what's going to bring you the best experience. So there's a lot of tobacco that is not being used for these cigars because it doesn't meet that standard that Sans Pareil stands for. And Sans Pareil is actually French for without equal or unparalleled. And a lot of times people that smoke the cigar, they do realize why the name has so much significance, because there's a lot of great cigar brands out there. Padron is one of the most famous. Davidoff has plenty of great cigars, but there is nothing like Sans Pareil, and there truly isn't. So the Blue, as I said, Criollo 98 wrapper, that's going to be the lightest in terms of strength. My personal favorite for a morning cigar, early in the morning with a shot of espresso, is my personal favorite. It's the absolute best way to start my day. And that comes in 3 different sizes. The Pyramid, which is similar to what we guys are smoking today. The Toro, which is also similar. The difference between the Bellicoso, the Pyramid, and the Toro essentially is going to be that perforated tip that you have on the cap. It's a matter of preference, really. Some people, they like torpedoes and pyramids more, so they'll go for that. Some people, they strictly want to stick to a Toro because they don't like the pointed cap. So that's a matter of preference. And we do have the Petite Corona as well, which is a much smaller size. And personally, like I was saying, when I start in the morning with a cup of coffee and a Sans Pareil, that Petite Corona is the perfect time to sit back in the morning and enjoy a 30 to 45 minute smoke with my coffee. Super light, super flavorful. That's one of my personal favorites. I actually tend to kind of go for the smaller sizes, 30, 45 minutes, but personally, and a lot of you guys probably know this, but the thinner the ring gauge and the smaller the size, generally you get more of that wrapper's flavor. So you're gonna get more flavor overall when you're enjoying the cigar. We also have the newest line that we have, which is the green. The green is an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, same Dominican binder and filler, elite selection. The green, while being the newest release from Sans Pareil, has actually skyrocketed. That's now our most popular blend. I was telling Byron earlier that we have a lounge in Qatar, in Doha, that they blow through boxes like crazy. That's the favorite over there in the Middle East right now. But we're seeing a lot of traction here in the US too. So if you haven't had the green, I would highly recommend that you try that one next. And all these cigars, I have them in order of strength. So you're gonna start with the blue, which is lightest, and it's gonna go all the way to the red, which is gonna be on the stronger side. The green, we have a few different sizes, and the names are unfamiliar to most people, but if you guys are familiar with Cuban Vitolas, Cuban sizes, you might recognize some of the names. The Sherrys, the Adimas, the Belvederes, and the Gran Robusto. So personally, the Sherrys is a little bit on the thinner side for the ring gauge. Again, getting that maximum flavor off of the thinner ring gauge, that's one of my personal favorites. This would be, I was telling Byron this earlier too, the green would be the closest to your Cuban cigar experience. And I think Alex was saying too, he really enjoyed the blue because it kind of reminds him of that Cuban-esque style of cigar. I told him, you gotta try the green. The green is the closest thing you can experience to a Cuban cigar, a true Cuban cigar. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but Cuban cigars now, unfortunately, the quality is not where it used to be. They have issues with the agriculture and stuff like that. So if you really enjoyed, let's say someone gave you that Hoyo de Monterrey that was from 2015 and you're like, wow, this was really good. The green is matching that, if not maybe even surpassing that. Did we get you a cigar yet? Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure you're good. We also have the purple. The purple is going to be, I would say, like a true medium. Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, again, Dominican binder and filler. The sizes we have here are the Bellicoso, which is the same size that you're smoking now. Double Corona, if you guys like a longer smoke, up to, hour and a half, 2 hours. And what's great about the purple is we have two really small sizes. These are the thinnest sizes, the smallest sizes overall, the Laguito and the Corlata. And those are exquisite in terms of flavor. Again, going back to that thin ring gauge, you get so much flavor out of that. I can't get enough. I think I smoked the whole box in like 2 days. And then the red, as I've been talking about, the strongest over here, that's going to be the Ecuadorian Corojo wrapper. So if you like a cigar that's more on the stronger side in terms of the actual strength, that might be your go-to right there. I know some of us have tried the red and we're really impressed with that. The sizes we have there is a Robusto, the A, which is a much larger size. We have the Churchill, and then we also have the Torpedo in the red. So Sans Pareil, their mission was to kind of give you essentially the perfect cigar for your taste and your style. So if you want something that is shorter and thinner smoke, there's something for you in your specific blend type. Or if you want something that's much larger, that's going to last you 2 hours, you can sit back and enjoy your time here at Empire Social for 2 or 3 hours. We have options for you there too. Any questions so far? Anything? You guys are just really enjoying the cigars?
What was your wrap for it?
For the blue?
Yeah.
That is the Criollo 98. And yeah, like I said, all the wrappers are by the time you're smoking it, it's going to be 8 to 9 years of age.
Where's the Criollo?
That's Dominican.
Yeah, Dominican binder filler. Say it again?
He answered.
Okay, perfect, yeah. So for the most part, the tobacco is coming from the Dominican Republic. But obviously, Ecuadorian Habano, Ecuadorian Corojo, those are going to come from, can you guess? Ecuador? Those will come from Ecuador. So the wrappers would be the only thing that are, I guess, outsourced or imported from somewhere that's not the Dominican Republic. And there is something that's not here yet. Empire Social has had the privilege to carry this line in the past. And this line of cigars is going through a rebranding. The boxes are being redone and we're relaunching this brand in January. And Empire Social is going to have these at the beginning of the year, but that is the gold line. The gold line comes in two sizes. The Jetto, which is essentially a Toro. It's a 6.5 by 54, so a little bit of a bigger Toro size. And the second size is a Super Lancero, which is 13.5 inches by a 40 ring gauge. So it's legitimately a cigar this long. And depending on how fast you smoke or how slow you smoke, 2 to 3 hours, maybe even longer. But say it again. That would be our first Lancero, and we did have a limited line of Lanceros for a bit in the past. Yeah, I'm sure we can get that to happen again if you guys really want it. But that Super Lancero, as Alex was saying, it smokes perfectly all the way through. And Lanceros, if you guys smoke Lanceros, you know that it's a tough cigar to roll. A lot of times when you smoke a Lancero, and I've dealt with this personally, it's hard to keep lit sometimes. If it's not rolled perfectly, it might have a harder draw. It's hard to keep lit. This cigar, and Alex has smoked 4, you said, right?
4.
Did they all smoke perfectly?
Yeah.
All the way through. Jared and I have...
All the way from Santiago to Santo Domingo Airport, just 2.5 hours ride with traffic. When I got in the car, the driver said, "You gonna be able to finish that after we get to the airport?" I'm like, brother, I got this time perfect. Sure enough, when we pulled up, I had that much left.
Damn. I also saw Alex from the beginning of a New York Knicks game start smoking, and it lasted till the end.
Yeah, a Super Lancero. Yeah.
Yeah, and they smoke perfectly. So the cigars are produced in the Dominican Republic by Hochi Blanco Tabacalera Palma. Some of you might be familiar with him. He created the La Galera line. He also has La Instructora, and he was one of the original founders of Sans Pareil. And he really believed in this cigar from the beginning. And the whole reason really why Sans Pareil ended up working with Hochi Blanco is because they were looking for someone to create that Super Lancero. And of course, you go to different factories, they're like, I don't know, man, I don't think this is crazy. It's gimmicky, whatever. And Hochi was the first one that said, I want to do this, and I want to do this right. So they created the Super Lancero, and it's like, okay, if we can create this cigar, and it works, and it smokes great, and it tastes great, we can do the rest, no problem. And what's special about the gold line is that tobacco, from wrapper, binder, filler, is all aged for a minimum of 10 years before it is rolled and before it's put in the aging room. So when you smoke a gold Jetto, a gold Super Lancero, you're getting 11 to 12 years of tobacco that you're smoking there. And that's that true vintage experience.
You guys have more rejects on the Super Lancero than you put into the market. They're like fanatics. If it's not perfect, it's not leaving the pack.
No, of course, yeah.
They won't even give you one as a reject. They're like, no, I'm not doing it.
I asked for the rejects. They wouldn't give them to me. I was like, dude, I'm not going to tell anyone. No, but I mean, Sans Pareil truly stands for ultra luxury, premium, high quality. You don't want to be smoking a cigar that's going to give you issues. So every cigar that leaves the factory, they want to make sure that it is perfect, just the way it is intended. And if you do have a problem, please let us know. I will gladly come back down here and give you guys a new one. That's how confident I am in Sans Pareil. But any questions at this point?
So you guys make Dominican puros?
So the Criollo 98 would actually be a Dominican Puro, and that would actually be the only Dominican Puro. Yes. The rest of them do have wrappers that come from Ecuador and other places.
That's pretty advanced.
Yes. No, I mean, and as far as Dominican Puros go, this is changing the standard of what most Dominican Puros kind of give you in terms of experience, in terms of smoke, flavor. This is something that really stands out, and I'm sure you can attest to that as you're smoking this.
Yeah,
Maybe?
I mean, it's very different than like an open six.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, I still haven't found a cigar that tastes like this. I'm looking for it, but I can't find it. So.
And the green one, I'll say that is the most similar to a Cuban cigar out. That's
Yes.
why in Qatar they're going through so many.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I was telling them that earlier. It's phenomenal. That's arguably, but my personal taste, the green and the purple are my rivals right now. I go back and forth between those two. But for me, it just depends on my mood. Like I said, do I want a morning smoke, something right in the middle of the day? Do I want something after a steak dinner? And that's why there's so many options here, depending on the size and flavor profile you like. We try to make sure that we cover everything and give you options for what you really like to experience.
Without parallel, this is crazy. I've been smoking since I'm 21. About to be 32. About to be 55. When I smoked this, I was like, this is one of the best cigars I've ever had. The entire life.
No, absolutely.
I haven't had the green one.
Sans Pareil was founded officially in 2018, and I've been privileged to join this year, so I'm actually fairly new to the company. But I didn't think about it for a second when the CEO asked me if I wanted to hop on board and work with Sans Pareil. I said, absolutely. I've had all the cigars for the most part. At that point, I said, I believe in this brand entirely, and I would love to help be a part of the mission to bring this nationwide and ultimately worldwide. So yeah, I mean, I really hope that you guys are enjoying the cigars. I'm going to go around for a bit so we can talk, get to know each other. But I appreciate you all for being here. I hope you really did enjoy the cigars. And we're going to kind of try and figure out which one might be your favorite. So that way when you come back, or maybe you can leave here with some to try. But I mean, I'm so glad that you guys got to experience this. I'm glad to be here. So thank you so much for giving me the time to give you a little presentation. Thank you. Go, please.
No, I was just going to say that two things. First, I got to know them. I got to know the CEO in Dominican Republic.
We should tell them the story.
So we had Sans Pareil before, and for whatever reason, we couldn't get him anymore. I'm in Santiago in an event, a cigar event, and I'm sitting next to this guy, and he pulled up. He asked one of those, and I'm like, oh my God, we've been looking for this. Like, where do you get this at?
And the guy says to me, he's like, I've been texting you for a month. And I'm like,
we're trying to make contact with the guy, and the guy sitting next to me, the CEO. So finally, we were able to get together and put this
handed
together.
us one of the gold ones that's just coming out. I'm like, bro, this is like heaven, man. We're at what was that event?
Pro Cigar?
A Pro Cigar, right? So you just, oh, hi, how are you? The girl that was with him says, hi, how are you? I was like, I'm Alex from Apply Social. It's like, oh, hey. When the CEO comes back, she introduces him to Byron and I. And she's like, I've been texting you for a month and a half. I was like, you didn't listen to my text. I said, you gotta talk to Byron. He's right here. And he was like, oh. And I said, I pulled up the text. I was like, see? I told you. And I said, I didn't realize you were Sans Pareil. I would have answered you immediately. He handed us 2 of the gold cigars. We put down what we were smoking at a Pro Cigar event, which was phenomenal. Put down and lit them up. I was like, oh man, this is perfect. He was at our table. And then since that point, we said, okay, are you guys distributing again? He said, we're relaunching the brand, had little hiccups, but now we're back on track, and you guys want to carry Sans Pareil. I said immediately, like, hell yeah. I was like, well, I heard you guys were like the first lounge to carry us. Like, yeah, we were. And then you guys disappeared. It's like, well, we came back better and stronger with more options. I'm like, oh, okay. Here we are.
We're happy we made that connection. I was talking to Alex. We'd never do this. We're going to give you 40% off if you want to take a box tonight.
40% off.
Never
you
done.
guys get an opportunity to taste whichever cigar that you get.
I just got most of the line, so some of the things are not necessary in our systems yet. So talk to me afterwards if you want to get one. It could be today or tomorrow. I'll figure it out, and I'll give you a really good deal on the brand because we want to help them out. We believe in the brand. We love the brand. And in addition, Alex Gonzalez has also something to do with the Cigar Guys, which some of you guys follow on internet, on TikTok. And it's a podcast. They talk about cigars. They interview cigar blenders, master blenders, cigar, manufacturers, and I think it's something to also follow. You will definitely increase your knowledge about cigars. So I would suggest follow the guys, the Cigar Guys. It's something I do, and the little knowledge I have is based on perhaps following up on podcasts, that teaches you about everything that have to do with cigars. So let me know whenever you guys are ready. Like I said, later on tonight, tomorrow, 40% off. This is, every cigar is amazing. So I suggest you to think about it.
Talk to Alex and see which one he thinks is in your profile based on what you normally smoke, and that could be what you order a box of. So you get to try it, you get a discount, so you're not taking that big of a risk. We'll take the risk, but we're sure you're gonna want to start.
Yeah, I mean, I might leave with one too. Who knows? I could never have too many. No, thank you guys. I really appreciate that.
Cheers.
Alex,
Yes.
what's the name? How is it? What is this name?
Yeah, Sans Pareil is French for without equal or unparalleled.
Sin Pareil.
Yes.
So you said there's no parallels, but the logo is parallel lines. Is there-
Ah. So the band actually, good point out. The 5 rings represent the 5 original founders. So David, this now CEO, is one. Hochi Blanco is one. Aaron is another one, and there's 2 other guys. But that's where the 5 rings comes from. That's funny you mentioned that. No one's ever said that before. So there is one parallel, and it's just the band itself. But outside of that, no, nothing like it. That's funny. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, for example, do you guys lean more towards stronger cigars? Do you think so? The red would probably be right down your alley, I think. For sure.
So, Alex, we're from Spain. I smoked a lot of Cuban cigars.
You flew all the way here from Spain?
No, I did here now. But one of the things that I used to smoke a lot of number 2s, Monte Cristo number 2.
Beautiful, yeah.
What would be the closest match to
I would say the purple. The purple would probably be the closest to a Monte Cristo number 2 because it's got that, it's right in the middle. And a Monte Cristo Cuban cigars in general, they're kind of in the middle in terms of strength, in terms of flavor. I would say the purple is kind of your best bet for that. And the number 2 specifically, that's a smaller size or that's a bigger size? That's a bigger size.
It's like this.
That's right. So that would, I mean, either the Bellicoso or the double Corona to give you that hour plus smoke.
And you mentioned the quality issues that the Cubans are having, and I've noticed this too. What's going on?
They can't put out enough cigars.
Well, partially, yes. And in my opinion, Alex is right. The demand is so high, number 1. And part of the reason for the demand being so high is China, Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Legitimately, they're sending people to Europe, Eastern Europe, all these different places to buy as many Cuban cigars as they possibly can to bring back to China, Hong Kong, wherever it is. Because the way the system works there, in, whether it's tech, whatever industry it is, you have the bosses, the big guys. They work their employees crazy hours, like 24/7. I'm not even exaggerating. They don't sleep. And it's almost like when, I don't know if you guys ever joined a fraternity, but you have rush and you have to kind of be like almost a servant to the big guys. That's essentially how it is there. And these guys bring back the Cuban cigars for the bosses, buy the boxes, like they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars wherever they can get them. And they essentially give them to their bosses. And they do this because one day, 20, 30 years from now, they could sit in his position and be the guy that's saying, you do this, you bring me this. So Hong Kong and China are part of the big reason why there's so much demand.
It's supposed to be, they're literally taking up 65% of the market.
Yeah. So people like us that want to travel across, to Europe or wherever and buy some nice Cubans,
We're not even there anymore. Yeah,
no.
it's fucked up.
And from experience, I've gone in, right, the prices are high, I've gone into a lounge over there. This was in France. I was visiting a relative. And I go in, and there's a guy from China in there buying as many boxes as he could. And one of the cigars he bought was a Monte Cristo number 2, actually. It was a number 2. And I was like, I walked up to the counter after he left. I was like, man, I was actually really hoping to get at least one of the Monte Cristo number 2s. And the guy goes behind the counter and pulls out a box and says, we have to hide these because we don't want to sell out of these. We want people that actually want to enjoy these cigars to purchase them. So what a lot of lounges and shops are doing is they have to kind of keep some of these hidden. And you go into the humidor, a lot of the shelves will be empty. And that's for one of two reasons. Either they are trying to hide some of the cigars in the back so they don't just sell out, or because they are sold out and they can't get any more for 1, 2, 3 years. I went to another shop in Germany and he told me, listen, we're not getting anything. It's been 2 years and I haven't gotten a single new shipment of Habanos. That's how bad it's been. So yeah, of course, prices go up. There's no inventory in a lot of places. And that's why I think brands like Sans Pareil that is producing something that can mimic or even surpass that Cuban cigar experience are great. And that's the thing too. We could talk about as well with Cuban cigars, the agricultural problems. They've been growing cigars and tobacco for so many years, and they only have so much land mass. So over time, that soil is being stripped of all the nutrients. So you don't have as many nutrients in the tobacco, the flavor is not as good. But two, because of the demand, they aren't able to put them in the aging room and keep them there for a few years to actually settle and come out the way they should be. They're just rolling them and sending them out. Right. And when you would get a lot of Cuban cigars, they had nice light colored wrappers, almost like a Connecticut or maybe like a lighter Habano wrapper. A lot of times when you open a box or you go to a shop, they're dark like Maduro sometimes. But that specific cigar is not intended to be that dark. Of course, they make Cuban cigars that are Maduros, that are intended to be Maduros. But a lot of the ones that were a lighter shade are now coming out really dark. Or you might open a box and there'll be some that are dark that look like Maduros and some might look more like a Connecticut. Or if you open 2 boxes, you have that discoloration. So that's one of the problems that we see with the Cuban cigar industry right now. And that's why, number one, of course, cigars that are coming out of the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, they've gained so much popularity because of the consistency and because different flavors, but also, and it's up to perspective, but sometimes better flavors. You smoke a lot of cigars from Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and you say, this tastes better than a Cuban cigar, or at least most Cuban cigars. And there's still Cuban cigars out there that I hunt for from 2015, 2016 that are fantastic. But a lot of the times it's like, you know, first of all, why pay the money for something that you're taking a risk on? And why go through all the effort of either trying to get it imported or trying to go there yourself and pay all this money to bring back a box that hopefully reminds you of what Cuban cigars used to be. That's kind of the issues that we've seen with the Cuban cigar industry.
And you still have to set up aside for a year or 2 years.
Well, the Bahique
Yeah.
is, specifically, the Bahique used to be 150, 200 bucks. Now they're up to like $900 a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to have 1 and 4 not be good.
And that's insane.
That's
My personal opinion, when it comes to, let's say you buy a box, if you have a box of 20, and we all know this is a handmade product, they all can't be perfect and identical. If you have one cigar in a box that didn't really perform, that's a great box of cigars. When you have 5 out of 20 that don't perform, it's like, well, this really shouldn't be happening.
You're like, I got fucked.
Exactly. So, and a lot of cigars that I buy by the box, that's like I said, if I have one that's not good, it's like, okay, we're going to disregard that one. When you get 3, 4, 5, it's like, come on, why did I spend the money on? And I've smoked a lot of these boxes. I haven't had issues yet, so I'm still trying to find that one bad one.
They won't give it to
I've
you.
been smoking this since they came out.
They won't give it to me, yeah. And he's been smoking them longer, both of them. So,
7 years. It's just fantastic.
So like this is your go-to?
Well, it's too expensive to be right. We'd be broke if I was. With the amount of cigars I smoke, this was my go-to weekly fun.
If I could smoke this all day, and maybe a couple of more out there, I'd be happy. So the quality, I'm smoking the purple, it's amazing. I smoke the red one. I smoke most of them. They're just, none of them are bad. Actually, one of them is better than the other.
Byron and I actually have a stash of 7-year-old reds. It's our personal stash. Sorry.
So you're looking at 14 years of age on those.
Exactly. And that, when you like that, I'm like,
Where is the factory? Where in the Dominican Republic? Which,
What is that? Right by Pro Cigar where you guys were at?
yeah.
Tambori.
Tabacalera Palma.
It's called Tabacalera La Palma.
Can we
Yeah,
visit,
well,
if
we've
we
had
go there, can we visit the factory?
Absolutely. So Pro Cigar that he's talking about, they do a big event in February with all those factories on that strip. You go from factory to factory, try a bunch of different cigars. I mean, you guys went. You know better than I do.
Yeah, no,
Drinks. It's a big event.
And Hochi Blanco actually just opened his own hotel. Hilton.
Really? I actually didn't know that.
The inauguration is tomorrow. We're there tomorrow, the 25th. Yeah, so we're going to put together a Tabacalera La Palma tour. We did one with LSD earlier this year. We're going to do
When
one
is that? February? When?
The event, the Pro Cigar
Pro Cigar
event is in February. And they, I tell you what, they start in Punta Cana, I believe. It's a whole week event. They start in Punta Cana on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you end up in Tamboril in Santiago. So you were able to visit
And every
whatever
night,
factory you want in the morning, and then at night there's a party. There's an event that is
3 nights.
super exclusive.
And
super
every night you get a
very
box of Dominican cigars from everybody that's represented there. Food is free, drinks are included.
So, is it something you organize or?
No,
No, not Pro Cigar. But we did a tour that Joe, Vince, Ito went on the LFD, La Flor Dominicana, and Laurel went as well. And we went earlier this year, and it was phenomenal. But we're going to put one together with Hochi Blanco and his factory where these are made. So we're setting it up. Now that his hotel is around, we get a break on hotel as well.
I'll be there.
Me too. Of course we do. You're late. You can go.
Only 8. You're supposed to be here an hour ago. I'll forgive you.
Have you ever tried the Sans Pareil? It's really good.
So what's in the red?
That's the Ecuadorian Corojo. Same Dominican binder and filler, but you get more of that strength in the blend. So they're going to focus on, that's what I'm smoking right now. And
Usually when we sit down,
it's really good. But yeah, if you like that, I mean, what do you usually smoke? Like Padrones or?
I like Patron. I
Yeah.
like Puente Añejo.
Okay, yeah. Great cigar.
Connecticut Broadleaf, San Andreas Wrappers.
Yeah. So it won't be as dark of a wrapper, but that strength profile is going to be very similar. And it's going to be, I mean, new flavors that you may have not experienced from those cigars, but it is very enjoyable. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, of course.
So when you're like normal production, you just have 4 blends?
So 5 if you include the gold, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, this company has plans of doing more, which we'll find out soon. But everything that they've put out so far has exceeded my expectations personally. Because I've only been working with the brand since this year, but I've known these guys for a couple years now. So I've had to, I got the chance to try all these cigars. We had them on our podcast. We did events with them. We were with them at PCA as well. So leading up to this point, I was able to try them as a consumer, and they were quickly one of my favorites for sure. Any other questions or people trying to figure out maybe what they want to take home or? Oh, you're good?
I was waiting.
I'm just messing with you.
What's your annual production?
Annual production? I don't know the answer, honestly.
7,528
That sounds about right. Yeah, let's go with that.
every day, daily basis.
Hourly, actually. No, and the thing about this brand, quite honestly, is because of the standards that we have to meet with this cigar, it isn't a mass-produced cigar. You know, it's not going to be Padron, it's not going to be Fuente. It is boutique. So we produce what is needed, and then some, of course, because, you know, demand is always going to be rising and stuff like that. So we focus truly on quality and not trying to mass-produce something, because as soon as we start doing that, you know, you run into issues. Some brands over time, they have something really great, and in trying to meet demand, sometimes they cut corners, and ultimately it ruins the brand. No, and that's the thing. And Hochi, being one of the founders and being invested in this brand, he's not going to put out something that is going to be subpar.
Listen, if he wouldn't give me a throwaway of the Super Lancero, he's definitely not going to put one in the market.
But I think that's really just because he wanted to smoke them himself.
No.
No.
I was like, come on, dude. Let me give me one. Let me get one to go. He's like, no, brother, it's not ready.
No.
You're not going to argue with him.
Ocho Blanco is fourth generation, his family.
They own most of Santiago.
They developed Santiago.
Right.
Their factory's been there. They're probably one of the highest inventory along Davidoff. They have so many aged leaves in there because they've been there for 40, 50 years.
He's been purchasing tobacco.
His father, his grandfather, so they're just...
He stockpiles.
Yeah.
Rare tobacco. Well, look, there's another person from the cigar industry. He knows.
And they are a four-generation factory. So while the brands that he's actually producing, like La Galera, La Instructora, and Sans Pareil, they're much newer brands, but the tobacco is aged for so many years because he started out producing tobacco for other companies. So he would sell the tobacco. He didn't have brands really that were his own, so to say. So because he's been stockpiling the tobacco and he has so much tobacco that has been sitting in the aging room, that's why you're able to come to Hochi and say, hey, I want this cigar. And even then, it's not like you roll them and then send them off. There's still a whole process of, okay, we have all these leaves. They're already aged 7 years. We're going to roll the cigars and then put them in the aging room to let them rest because they're looking for that certain standard to meet. So there's no rushing production on anything in terms of anything that Hochi does. Like you guys said, he's not going to give you something that's not ready.
At all, he will not give it to you. I tried. A lot. We're going to get some Super Lanceros too.
Absolutely. It's only a few months away.
Geographically, what's your biggest market? The U.S.?
The U.S. would be the biggest. And we are in, like I said, Doha, Qatar, in Europe as well. But the United States is pretty much the biggest demographic so far, yeah.
And now they're in 30 lounges, which is big for them compared to where they started. Before, we were one of only 5 locations in the country that had this cigar when we first came out. Just because when Shia first brought them in, he had a cigar, and like, holy shit, that guy knows cigars too.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, we were one of only 5 places in the nation to have the cigars. Now they're up to 30. And they're across the pond, right?
Right, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. You guys are getting in on something. It's gonna be even bigger.
U.S. consumes and purchases, imports 13 billion cigars a year.
Well, I'll tell you a story. So in 2020, I was involved with Al Qaeda with the event to whites for Cuban cigars. for 100 years. And the whole thesis of the operation was the U.S. market was going to open up,
Yeah,
and it didn't.
that's a shame. That's a real shame.
It's a real shame. That's why the operator, all the time he's bought those rights.
Right.
But yeah, and like you said, generally the United States is the largest consumer of premium cigars. So naturally, it's easier for a brand to excel in the United States market. And of course, if you're looking at longevity, trying to get into Europe, trying to get into the Middle East. But the United States itself is so big, a lot of brands just stick with the United States because there's so many options. I mean, of course, 50 states. But even, and we're talking about this, in Miami alone, how many lounges and shops? I mean,
I don't know, but in Florida there is about 1,670 stores.
that's just one state. You go to countries in Europe, they might have a few hundred.
In the United States,
Well, we
there's
used to smoke a lot more cigars, but it's just gone down. People just don't smoke cigars.
No, it's not the
You
same.
can't find a place that. This is a good opportunity for you guys to open these lounges in Europe. They just can't find them.
Well, and two,
I don't have any more hours to go.
Habanos was essentially, for the most part, everything that was being exported to Europe. And in the past decade or so, more and more brands here have been going into the European market. It's actually a relatively new thing. So you have, what's the one in Germany? Intertabac in Germany has been gaining more and more popularity. You have a lot of the big brands that go there. And actually, Sans Pareil was up there. So a lot of, it's still relatively new for brands that are located in the United States and even in Dominican Republic and stuff like that. So a lot of brands are taking advantage of that now because when you have, and this is no exaggeration, right now you have around 300 new brands created every single year. That's a number you can look up. Now, granted, are you going to hear about 90% of these brands or not? But when you have competition like that, the big guys that are able to do it, they're saying, all right, well, we're going to go to Europe right now, capitalize on that market so they can continue to outperform.
There's also the price point too, right? Because the Cuban prices have skyrocketed up.
Yeah.
It's making it almost impossible to enjoy Cuban cigars like they used to. But Cubans, because of the embargo, they have more of a say in how their cigars are being sold.
Right.
Like in Spain, obviously, they got the #1 cigars. They used to get the #1 cigars.
And they're still the cheapest prices, yeah.
So that's part of the problem. That's why a lot more of the domestic, what we call domestic cigars, have now gone internationally because their market's been opening more and more, especially now that the Chinese bought half of Casa Habanos.
Right, and they can compete with those prices. Yeah, just
Knowledgeable bunch, man.
we're enthusiasts.
Still, cigars that you can get in here are so much more expensive in Europe.
say it again?
The cigars that you can buy here are so much more expensive in Europe. Still.
Oh, in Europe, yeah, exactly. So even like brands that are in the United States that are exporting to Europe,
Yeah.
even with all the taxes and everything like that, they can still end up being cheaper than the Cubans.
Oh, for sure. The cheaper
Yeah.
Cubans.
So yeah, I mean, if you're paying $20 for a cigar here, you go to Europe, it might be 40.
Yeah.
But then you go to the Cuban side and it's like, well, here's $60, $80, yeah. So yeah, the industry, I think, overall is looking at the European market now in terms of the United States. What can we do to get out in there in the European market?
This is awesome.
Well, congratulations. This is a great cigar.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy
We
it.
want you to be successful, but not too successful. Because we won't be able to get there.
No. I mean, listen, Empire Social has a special place in our heart. So regardless of what happens, this is the #1 spot. Like truly, seriously.
We got a direct connection.
All of that
Yeah.
cigar